So after being online for nearly over a decade at this point, building multiple businesses from YouTube, growing a massive audience, hosting meetups, and basically living as like this YouTuber family. And I say that as our fifth is sleeping on my chest, fingers crossed, we'll see how it goes. But we have realized something that we wish we knew way sooner. And that is the hardest part of YouTube or being YouTubers wasn't the filming, it wasn't the editing, it wasn't the scripting or even making actual money going full time. It was telling people in our real lives that we had a YouTube channel. So let us explain.
But before we get into it, if you're new here, we're Haley and Doug, and we teach creators how to be able to grow on YouTube and build digital product-based businesses. And we want these businesses to be able to support their families without compromising their values. And so in today's video, we're actually going to be showing you two different things. The first is why telling people about your channel is actually a terrible idea. Which, if you've tried YouTube at all, you probably know, because your Aunt Pam just can't help herself but ask you about how that little tiny hobby of yours is going. Or in my case, my 90-year-old Japanese grandma still thinks I'm unemployed. Those things can definitely destroy your confidence. But we're not just gonna show you that, we're also gonna be touching on how to actually just get over yourself when these things happen, because they will. And if you're a total crybaby about these things, you can't actually expect to be able to go full-time on YouTube.
Which brings us to our first reason, and that is because most people judge your dreams through their own insecurities. So when we first started posting online, we naturally thought that everybody in our lives would be very supportive. Now, it wasn't that they were unsupportive per se, it was almost worse because people close to us, close family members, friends, they said nothing. It was like crickets at Thanksgiving, but there was no encouragement, no like, that's so cool, you know, no comments on videos or anything of the sort. It was just silence.
Say something.
And it's awkward because it's like, we know that they say it. Like, it's weird, okay? Yeah. But the moment that we quit our full-time jobs, after getting college degrees that put us in a ton of student loan debt, after getting, well, him, a 6-figure year marketing job and working for years to use his degree, people in our lives then started to question things. So this was no longer just a cute hobby or like a cool side hustle that made us some money. This made us look like, and we know this, okay, absolute losers, because it also looked like we were being very irresponsible. Now we started to get asked like, what about health insurance? Or what are you guys going to do about the new baby that you had? Yeah. And that's a whole other story, but what about retirement? You know, it didn't look good from the outside because we were literally sharing one working car.
Now, panel is falling off the top. Yeah.
You know, filming these little cute YouTube videos in our apartment, and somehow we were good enough to quit a stable 6-figure job, throw away and burn down our college degrees. And so I remember my mom, who I love deeply, she's watching this right now, Mom, just hold on. I know she's scared. She's like, what? Hi, Mom. But okay, she said this to me 10 years ago, and I know she's like, what did I say, Haley? But she said this in her
You gotta put on the accent, go for it.
I can't. Texas Southern accent. Haley, this better be something serious because you worked so hard for that degree. Don't be dumb. She said something to that effect. And I remember being like, oh, that cuts so deep, but not really, because I'm gonna do it anyways because I hate my job. It's soul sucking. And she did not say it to be rude, okay? My mom loves me, and she worked her entire life just to support our family. So I knew that then, and I know now, she sees things from a completely different perspective. And she basically said it just to prevent me from going through this painful experience of failure and regret. And also looking back on it in hindsight, people that respond less than positive to you starting out as a creator, they typically do so because, at least this is what we think, for one of two reasons. The first is in the case of my mom, and this is more rare because people who deeply love you probably have a couple of those in your life. They just don't want you to experience pain. But the second one is the most annoying, and I find that it's the most often, and that is they aren't responding to your dream, but they're responding to their own limits. And you basically are becoming a mirror that they didn't ask for. And this mirror, it almost like exposes something. It's the gap between what you want and what they settled for. And so what do you do when this happens is definitely not what I did as a 20-something with massive insecurity issues like most of us that are growing up, right? You don't cry about it. Not that I cried about my mom or anybody necessarily, but it was definitely something that stuck with me. But like sits with you and you like harass your spouse about it. I do remember one of my friend's moms she said, well, Haley doesn't have a real job. Still love her, but come on, you know?
Rent free in your head.
So anyways, what do? Is you don't cry and you don't feel hurt for months. You shouldn't get down the dumps because no one supports you, right? And you definitely don't get anxious or feel shame because they think or you think that they think that you're dumb for posting yourself online. The real is to basically stop seeking validation from people not called to your mission in life.
Yeah, why would you sit there and actually try to listen to somebody that does not have the outcome that you are trying to achieve? You're basically listening to somebody that did the exact opposite, and they see that in you too, so it is a very touchy time. But once you're able to get over that point, once you're able to actually start posting, it's not really just that easy to get over it. Like, yes, you're getting over the hump and you're starting to put out videos, but there's gonna be this pressure that you start to feel because you just know that those people are sitting there watching you.
You're being
watched, which is actually the second reason why you shouldn't actually tell anybody about your channel. So for instance, let's say that definitely not me, but you're trying to become a fitness influencer, okay? And your entire family knows that you've always been a fatty.
You could have wrote that in a different way.
I should have wrote that differently, but that's just coming from my mouth. Okay, that's me. I'm the fatty. Okay, my boba is there. All right, you're gonna actually end up feeling like a fraud. Now, your friends and family are gonna make you kind of feel like a poser because is poser even a word people use nowadays?
It is, yeah.
And if you let that get to you, again, they're gonna live rent free in your head, and you're gonna be making up things about them in your head that they might not even be saying, but you're gonna be thinking in your head, and you're gonna quit eventually, okay? So, for instance, like years ago, we had a student, and she almost quit like 100 times, all right? And it was all because her sister kept making passive aggressive comments and making fun of her and her dreams and her channel indirectly. She ended up not wanting to actually show her face anymore. She wanted to kind of like hide her presence. She wanted to literally like fall behind this veil, and she ended up actually just quitting for some made up reason. But we knew the actual reason, and it was that she couldn't handle the day-to-day pressures of being online and being a creator when people know that you're trying to do something. So the best way for you to actually be able to get around this is gonna sound kind of dumb, but just don't post about it, okay? You shouldn't be talking about your endeavors or your dreams or the actions you're taking specifically on Instagram, okay? People forget that for some reason, when you start a new Instagram account, Instagram is gonna recommend that to all the people that are actually on your channel. So when Haley was doing like a photography channel, or when she was doing a photography Instagram account, Haley's taking the pictures, but that's what happens automatically, okay? You don't want that to happen. So don't post about it on Instagram. Just keep quiet, keep your head down, and just work really hard. But otherwise, if they do end up finding it on YouTube, then it's like, congratulations, yay.
But also now that we're more mature in our business, and we're also really for the first time trying to align our business with biblical principles. And we mentioned that in our last video. I'll link it up here and down below. But basically there's a more deeper reason. Like, that's very shallow reasoning. All the stuff we just listed, still important, but there's a deeper reason as to why you should not care. So, and this is our personal convictions now. We truly believe that if you feel called by God to spread your message on social media and help people, it should almost be like your mission in life, okay? This goes far beyond what family member thinks about how good or not good you are, or how qualified or unqualified you are. You have to ask yourself, how many people am I not helping by worrying about my own insecurities, by my family members' non-response to what I'm doing if they think I'm a fraud? Like, how many people are you not helping? And so we try to lean on that right now, even though it is hard still sometimes to put ourselves online. It's like our mission is to help people, and that's what we don't want to give up just for fear of making our day-to-day life more uncomfortable.
Now, this third thing here is going to be actually one of the craziest reasons why you shouldn't tell people about your channel. Now, stick with us here. I promise it's going to be worth it, but we're going to get kind of psychological and deep here. Talking about your goals actually tricks your brain into thinking you've already achieved something. What we're talking about here, the psychological impact, is actually literally just you talking to yourself about the goals to yourself.
So if you're looking around your house, and this is me talking to me, really, you have paper everywhere, okay? You have paper of goals, you've got papers or little cute notes like with ideas and lists. This is probably your issue. And if you are also a millennial and you have kids and they're all in home goods notebooks, this is for sure your issue. There's a real psychology behind this. The dopamine you get, and I know this because this is me, okay, from announcing your plans, even just to yourself or really to your spouse, gives your brain the same reward as actually actually doing the work. And when you get that dopamine, real work actually ends up becoming harder. Scripting becomes harder. There's like more of a mental block to getting things done. Editing, posting consistently becomes harder. And so that's why creators who plan endlessly rarely post. I've gone through massive stretches of posting consistently for like 5 years straight, and then also massive stretches of just making plans and stopping them and starting them. And it's because of that dopamine high. And I had to read books about psychology. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? So stop talking about your goals or writing them in a journal. If you look and you have notebooks everywhere, you need to get a jar, okay, or a bowl, and you get like 100 jelly beans or candy or whatever, I don't know, marbles. And all you have to focus on, I think, is probably the number 35. Okay. 35, let's say, marbles. Every time you post a video, your only focus is to put the dang marble in the bowl or in the jar, because it shouldn't be planning for the next big set of like income streams or blog posts. It's like literally just post 35 YouTube videos and your life will absolutely change, because you won't be distracted. You're focused on just moving the needle to the only thing that matters, which is posting the dang YouTube videos. And I would say probably 35. If you can get up to there, you will have learned so much and your life will be better for it. And you're not just a talker, you're an actual doer.
So the fourth reason why you shouldn't tell people about your channel actually has to do with the videos that you're going to be posting. Now, whether you believe it or not, like Haley said, your first 20 or 30 or 35 or maybe even 40 videos are actually going to suck. And this is the last thing that you need, because you know Aunt Pam
this
from
is
the beginning.
Metaphorical Aunt Pam.
Oh yeah, I don't.
We all have an Aunt Pam. We all have an Aunt Pam.
We do all have an Aunt Pam. Aunt Pam doesn't know, insert potentially vulgar word here, about growing a YouTube channel. Aunt Pam only watches Paula Deen cooking videos, and she doesn't know.
She's not even cooking anymore, you millennial.
I don't know. I didn't know who else to
put in there. Competitions now.
Okay, yeah, cooking competitions, whatever. She's watching something that ain't helping anyone, okay? Aunt Pam's gonna be trying to give you unsolicited advice on what you're good at or what you're not good at. She doesn't know your niche. She doesn't know your audience. But one comment from Aunt Pam or your best friend or your spouse or your mom is going to live rent-free in your head for the next 6 months. So you have to understand something absolutely critical. If you want to be able to actually turn this into a full-time business, everything that you do should just be treated as data, not necessarily what your family wants or what you're good at. You should really only be looking at what the market demands. So your first 20, 30, or even like 50 videos, they're not really necessarily meant for an audience. Those videos are actually meant to just validate your niche and your offer on YouTube. If you aren't there yet, you can actually check out a video we did on this. I'll put a link up here and then also put one down in the description below. But you don't want to just aimlessly post. There's an actual strategy for this entire point.
The fifth and final reason why you shouldn't tell a single soul about your YouTube channel is because of something that nobody talks about. And this is so held close to my core, because this is the biggest mistake I ever made on YouTube after building big businesses with my husband, Doug, doing it as a family. And that is, the more people that know about your channel, the less freedom you have to pivot. So here's exactly what I mean. When you tell anyone in your life, your church, your community, your coworkers, suddenly they all know you as the YouTube person. I mean, they're always gonna do that, because if they're not one, then you're that, right? But it's also not just the fact that you do YouTube. They're gonna know you as whatever niche you started with. So now, like, you're the fitness creator or the meal prep mom or the Christian business person or the homeschool YouTuber, right? Or whatever niche you threw spaghetti at the wall with on day one. And the moment people attach an identity to you, you start feeling like you need to stay in that identity subconsciously, even when it's not working. But here's the truth. 90% of creators that we talk to, most creators, myself included, colleagues that have multiple 6- and 7-figure content creator businesses, they do not find their real niche on the first try. Most creators pivot 2, 3, sometimes 5 times before they discover what actually works. But if everyone in your real life knows what you're doing on YouTube is, and pivoting suddenly feels very embarrassing, it's gonna feel like failure. It feels like you're just changing your mind again. And creators end up trapping themselves in a niche that they shouldn't even be in because of outside pressure. Not because the niche is wrong, just because they don't want people to think that they made a massive mistake. And so this is so important if you want to grow on YouTube and build a business from it, because if you choose the wrong niche early on, especially a niche that you don't even want to build a digital product for, you're going to hit a wall and run up against something something. And so instead of just pivoting like a normal person, what happens next is you freeze, you stay stuck, you keep posting content that you don't love. I've done this for years, just for people that you don't even want to serve. Now, this obviously ends up morphing from like people in your own life. You're not going to post for your mom forever or someone that said a weird comment, but it becomes people on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
So like your subscribers end up pigeonholing or whatever, putting you in a box, and you're like, I don't want to start over. And that's a whole other psychological trap.
All the time we have students that come in and they talk to us and they say, well, my audience wants to hear this from me, or they know me for this thing. I can't change this. They don't want me for that thing. And it ends up just keeping them stuck at like a low level of views, or they don't be able to see the growth that they want, or they can't make the money that they want because they can't make a strategic change to their channel.
Yeah. And so you start getting comments like, oh, I thought you were doing that type of content, or why'd you switch? Is the thing that you're doing not working, or are you changing your mind again? And so you have to understand that your niche is not discovered in your head. It's discovered literally as you upload those marbles into your bowl. You have no clue where you're even going to go. We talk a lot about niching down, choosing like what we call in our videos a sticky sub niche. You're not going to find it if you don't upload a mass amount of videos. And so you cannot change freely your channel when you feel like the entire world is watching you to try to figure it out.
Now, you might think that these things just kind of go away after you start posting, after you fill up your jelly beans up to your like 35 or 37 number or whatever it is. But really what happens is that as you start to build an audience, as you start to get views, they only become magnified. Okay, once you've made it, people actually start really wanting things from you. You really start to become a walking billboard for how you can promote their business, which is also just honestly going to be an entire video in and of itself. But really what this means is that the earlier on you can deal with this mindset around other people knowing about your channel, knowing about your dreams, knowing about your aspirations, the better.
So that's pretty much all we have for today's video. If you got value from it, subscribe to our channel, like this video, let us know, have you dealt with any of these things in your life when being a creator? And we'll see you in our next one. Bye guys.